like I said, we're doing a one fade. We're always going to start with the two, yeah, to get clear of the weight. So when we come in for our clippers on the sides, we go by the most protruding point. You've heard this on the sides, yeah? Most protruding point, yeah? We've all heard that? Yeah. So meaning as in when we're coming off with our grade to come off square, we come off the most protruding point. Just so we know, there isn't just one protruding point on the sides, there is quite a few, yeah? So like for instance, if you feel on the head, you'll feel one just above the ear, then one slightly higher, and then another one up here, yeah? Obviously there's curvatures in between it, yeah? But that's what it can feel. Because I know that my client wants a low one, I'm not going to take my two up to a higher protruding point because I know he wants it lower. So I'm going to take the two to probably about midway where the most protruding point is there, yeah? So that means I'm going to come in, I'm going to then come at an angle that rotates my clipper off the most protruding point. That would be roughly about here. And then I'm going to come up square, and that's going to reduce all the weight on the sides, but also when I come in with my one, I've got space to follow it through, yeah? So, with the shape of our teeth on the clippers, guys, that is what we call one column on the sides and back, meaning as when we come through, that's one column, 2, 3, 4, all the way around, yeah? So, we all know as well, when we get to the mastroid bone, from us coming square, we then start to rotate. We know that, guys, yeah? Perfect. So, I'm going to come in, I'm going to rotate off, and I'm going to come up square, the most protruding point, yeah? Now, I've done that one column, I'm coming onto my neck. Rotating off, coming up square, yeah? And as you can see, it's reduced a lot of weight, yeah? Then we come to our next one, follow up square. And then if we need to clear any hair underneath it, we can, yeah? So, coming up, rotating off the most protruding point, yeah? As you can see when I slow it down, I come in, my clipper is naturally rotating off the most protruding point, and I'm going to come out square. As you can see now, I'm starting to dip down, yeah? Same again, guys, I'm coming in at this angle, yeah? At this angle, I'm rubbing, and then my clipper is going to naturally rotate off to find the most protruding point and come up square, yeah? What I don't want to see, guys, is you coming in, rotating and then following it through like that. I want you to find that most protruding point, that is right here, and I want you to rotate off it and come square up. And can you see I'm coming straight the whole way until there's no more hair to cut. I'm not coming out, because all that's going to do is it's going to create a line, and that's what we don't want. Because what's going to end up happening is we're going to do our clipper work, we're going to cut the top, and then when we come to connecting, there's going to be so much to still deal with, yeah? So by us getting this right now, it just makes our job a lot easier, yeah? So, after we've done that, we are then going to come back to the other side from the hairline, and we're going to follow it to drawing background, yeah? And the reason why we do this is so we can match it on both sides, yeah? So coming in, rotating off the most protruding point, coming off square, yeah? Coming in, guys, rotating off and coming off square. So you see my actual clipper rotating as well. If you want to look in the mirrors, guys, rotating off and coming up square, yeah? If I didn't do that and I just followed through, all what would happen is I'll go straight into the curvature. But we're building a shape to come up square, yeah?
Are you saying that the clippers are rotating themselves? Or
Yes.
Okay.
Naturally, on the shape of the head, if you see when I'm actually holding my clippers, I can hold them so light that naturally, from the shape of the head, my clipper will naturally want to rotate off it. Yeah. So what we just want to carry on doing is following it through, finding the most protruding point and just following it up. Because what a lot of people do is naturally the clipper wants to rotate off and then people trying to bounce it back in. And that's how you go around the curvature, yeah? So now we can see with my section, there's not much weight there, yeah? And you can see as well that it's slightly dipped down as well, yeah? So now I'm going to put my one lining. So this is the difference between our 2s, our 3s, our 4s and that. We're not going to go from 2-175 and work our way down. Before we do that, we're going to come in with our 1 line. So we're going to actually put in where we want our 1 to be, yeah? So I'm going to go for a low fade, yeah? So I'm going to come in and I'm literally going to come into my line and slightly flick out, yeah? The reason why I'm flicking out is because if I come straight up to my line and then move away, I'm going to see that I've created a line, but the hair above it, because it's still going to be long, it's going to overhang. So we're not going to be able to see the line properly. So if I come up and do a slight flick out, all I'm going to do is be taking off a slight layer above it so we can see our clear line of where it is. Yeah? And whenever, with any grade we do, when we put in lines or any grades, we always come straight first until we get to the mastoid bone and then we start to dip. If we start dipping from the beginning, our fade, that could be a mid fade, could end up turning into a low fade. Or a low fade could turn into basically a taper, yeah? So we're always coming in straight first, yeah? As you can see guys, I'm starting to rotate now, I'm flipping out, yeah? And because I've rotated from the mastoid bone, can you see how low my 1 actually is? Yeah? Because naturally, my clipper is going to slightly start rotating and following it round. Yeah? If I rotate too soon, like from here, it's going to go really low where I'm going to end up just doing the edges, yeah? So, now I've done this side, I'm going to now match it on the other side, yeah? And the way I do this, I end up putting my finger just below the line, yeah? And then I come to the other side to then match it. And do you know why I do this? Reason being is because we're not symmetrical on both sides, yeah? So most people may go, oh, I'm going to join it up with the eye, or I'm going to join it up, oh, it's that much distance away from the ear. You end up doing that, but then you end up realising, as you can see on mine, one of my ears are actually a lot lower than the other, yeah? So if I go by the ears, one's going to seem a lot lower than the other. And what's going to end up happening, once I finish with my fade, it's going to basically look like one side is shorter than the other side, just because it's slightly higher. Yeah? So we want to make sure that it's equal on both sides. So I come in by judging to make sure that it is equal. I keep my finger on this side until I come round so I can see exactly where I want to put my line. Yeah? Also guys, what you can see with my line as well is I always start just from this little, you know, this little bit here where the ear sort of finishes, yeah? I tend to come with my, for any clipper work that I do, I always tend to come in from there. The reason why I do that is because below it I class as the beard and above it I class as the haircut. Some people tend to come a lot lower and they go into the beard, but for instance, someone that wants to keep their beard and their length, you know, then you've got no real space to blend it in, because then you've got to come lower, and then suddenly that's going really into their beard. So that's why I always start just by the top of the ear, right here, that crease, and I just follow it up. So I've got this space afterwards to blend it out. Yeah. So I'm coming square, straight still, and then I'll start to rotate.
Are you keeping the distance the same the whole way around?
Exactly the same. Exactly the same. Yeah? We're actually mirroring the two. Yeah? And as you can see, I'm coming into my one, and I'm just slightly flicking out, just to take a slight layer off. That's all it is. Yeah? And then afterwards we can go back over the one just to clean off any hair that we've left, yeah? And then what I do, guys, I look from the back, take a step back, just to make sure that it's equal on both sides. If anything needs to be adjusted now, I can always go over it and go, oh, there's a slight corner here that I want to lift up just to match it on both sides, yeah? So, also guys, whenever you go below a 2, we always have our fade brush, yeah? Reason why is because when you go shorter, the hair tends to stick to the head. So by having the brush, we just brush it all off so we can see what we need to fade. Rather than not taking anything off, and then you've got loads of hair here and you think, I'm going over it, but nothing's coming off, where all it is just the excess, yeah? So, after we've done that now, I'm gonna blow dry all the hair off of the client, yeah? We want to keep our section tidy for the client because it's not really nice if they're all got all hair all over them, yeah? So.
And quick question.
Yep.
And with like a medium or higher fade, it'd be exactly the same, but this, how far it's taken, would just be taken
slightly higher. That's
a wider sort of section, yeah?
So if I went with a medium, I'll go from there, and I'll literally, I'm going to come around in a second, guys, to show you. I'll literally follow it, come in square, and then slightly dip in.
Okay.
And as you can see, it's the same amount of width from the front to the back, slightly higher, yeah?
Okay, and the higher one would be...
higher one would be
to the,
about here.
Just below the recession line?
Yeah, and just following it round and slightly dip into there.
Cool.
Yeah?
Thank you.
But obviously, if I was doing a high fade, my 2 would be a lot higher as well. That's what I talk about, you know, the most protruding points of how many we've got, we go by how high we're doing our fade. Yeah? So the same again, guys, on the medium, it'll be from here, coming straight, and then slightly rotating down to follow it round. And as you can see, it's the same amount of distance higher, yeah, all the way through. Because what you find with a lot of people, they come square, and then they start to dip, and they dip too low, yeah? So suddenly, it's medium at the sides and back, but low on the back, where we want it to be all the same. All parallel, yeah? So, now we've done our low fade, what we can do as well, because it's quite low at the moment, we can just go in with our taper now, yeah? Just because we've got the line there, we can see where we want to bring up our taper to, yeah? Just so we don't go into our one, because obviously we're going to go short now, yeah? So, would you like to just put your head slightly down for me? With me, I tend to judge where I'm going to do my taper, where I start from is probably the bottom of the mastoid bone. So it's this section here, yeah? But obviously if it's a low fade, you might have to drop it a little bit lower, yeah? So, with our taper, we call it a C motion, yeah? So we're coming in and we're curling back out, yeah? So I'm going to come in with my 0.75 because that's the grade just below it, and I'm going to flick out, yeah? And then after that, I'm going to drop down to my 0.5 fake. This is our fake grade, yeah? Come in, and I'm going to come like a centimetre lower, just below my previous grade. Because if I come back to the same spot, because there's no, you know, with the section of the head here, there's no protruding point there. It's all the same. So it's not like you can follow it out coming square, because you've got to make that section yourself. Yeah. So we drop a centimetre lower, and and we just do exactly the same thing, yeah? So, so after we've done that, I'm now going to drop to my 0.5 true, and exactly the same thing coming in and slightly dipping, a little bit lower, and the C motion, the exact same thing, flicking out. If you feel that it's enough, it's tapered, you can stop. If you feel you need to go a bit lower, like 0.25, what is right in between, come just at the bottom bit and flick out just on the edge. So I know now my taper is finished, yeah? So I haven't got to worry about that. I'm now going to go back up to my 175 with the teeth open, yeah? Reason why is because I've done my 1, I've done my 2, and now I've got to fade it in between, yeah? So I'm going to come in with my 175, yeah? And I'm going to come in, rubbing at the line, and then rotating off and coming up square. And I am going to take a slight layer of my 2, yeah? Because we need it to all blend in. And because we're coming off the same point of the most protruding point, even though I'm taking a slight layer of the 2, it's still going to blend it out, yeah? As long as you come with the right place to come off with. And because the grades are slightly shorter, comparing it to the 2, you can see the length, this is slightly shorter. So even though we're coming off the same protruding point, naturally this is going to rotate slightly quicker than this one. So that's why it's going to be slightly taking a little bit off our 2, but not going into our 2 to create a line, yeah? Same again with my columns, I'm rubbing on the line, and then I'm rotating off, coming up square, yeah? And what we need to do, guys, is we need to mirror our whole section of, you know, when we come past the ear and we rotate slightly with our clip, I've got to do exactly the same thing. Because if I come up square still, what's going to end up happening? I'm going to go into my crown, yeah? So we've got to follow it exactly how we've done our 1 page, yeah? So rubbing on the line, rotating off, taking a slight layer off the top, yeah? And working our way round. And as you can see, I'm not creating any lines, yeah? It's all blended in. Could you just slightly put your head down? Perfect, thank you. Rubbing on the line, guys. Rotating off and coming up square, yeah? And now, because I've got my 2 and my 1, I don't need to stop at the middle and come back to the front because I've got my guide to where I need to go, yeah? So I can just follow it all the way around, and at the same time, I'm still rotating my clippers exactly the same way I've done with my 2 and my 1, yeah? So I'm rubbing, rotating, you can see, look, I'll hold it so light, naturally, the clipper wants to turn itself, yeah? So I'm not even putting force on it to try and push it out so it comes up square, yeah? The clipper's naturally going to turn itself, yeah? Follow that all the way around, rubbing on the line. At this angle, guys, make sure you're coming in at that angle, yeah? Yeah? We're rubbing on that line, and then rotating off, coming up square, yeah? Rubbing, rotating off, coming up square, yeah? Always on this slight corner here, guys. you can see just here, always make sure you come round that corner, because a lot of people tend to leave it longer. So make sure we come in with a two-wheeler, so we're not coming flat to the head, we're coming at a slight angle, and we're just taking out that corner, yeah? Because a lot of people tend to leave that long, and it's not great, yeah? Once we've done that, we'll go down to our 1.5 fade with the teeth closed, yeah? Same again, rubbing on the line, rotating off, coming up square. I'm doing exactly the same thing, and I'm not creating any lines, yeah? Because like I said, this grade now is slightly shorter than my previous. So even though I'm coming off the most protruding point, it's going to slightly rotate sooner and come up square, so it won't create any lines, yeah? And as you can see, I'm working my way up, all the way up to my tooth. I'm not stopping, I'm still coming all that way up, yeah?
So it's the shorter teeth length that give it that sort of blend then?
Yeah, yeah. And as you can see, guys, my line for my one is still there, yeah? A lot of people start getting worried at this point, thinking, why is my line not coming out? You've got to remember, I still need to go down to my 1.5 true to end up taking that line out. So don't worry about the line at the moment, yeah? Because what ends up happening, people end up keep going over that line. It's like, why is it not going out? Yeah, it's going to come out, don't worry about that. All we want to do at the moment is build in our fade, so it all blends out together, yeah? Same again, rubbing, rotating, coming up square. What I naturally do, guys, when I'm on the line, I do like a couple of strokes, yeah? So I'm rubbing, and when I drop back down again, I'm naturally going to let it rotate itself now and come up square, yeah? So I rub twice. Once I come back down, I then let my clipper naturally rotate with it, yeah? So now, after I've done that, I'm going to work onto my 1.5 true, yeah? So just give me 1 second, guys. Sorry about this, just 1 second.